I want to tell you guys a little story about a friend of mine named Danny. Danny is one of the first people that we met when we moved here to New Zealand 13 years ago. And he is an amazing man with a big personality, a big Samoan man who just brings joy to everybody. But if you were to meet Danny years ago, you would not have got the same opinion of Danny. Danny was a good guy that had gone through a lot of hard things in his life that had shaped him. Came from an abusive home, found himself with a baby at a young age. Later on in life, got himself involved in drugs and alcohol and other things. And then found himself with a girl that he fell in love with. They lived together for a while, had a baby, and when the baby was born, the baby died, which sent Danny into a massive depression, as well as his partner, and at the time a fiance. Danny came home one day to find his fiance had committed suicide, which, as you can imagine, was devastating and sent Danny into further spiral of depression. So Danny found himself moving to Russia for over a year, where he got into all sorts of trouble, all sorts of drinking, and just began realizing this was not the lifestyle that he was meant to lead, nor the lifestyle he wanted to lead. So he came back to New Zealand, and that's where we met him. And as we met Danny, we began to try to tell him about Jesus, to which he wanted to hang out constantly, but wanted to know little about Jesus. Didn't really want to have Bible studies, just really wanted to hang out and be together. And we didn't mind doing that, but at a certain time we just felt like, God, is this what we're supposed to be doing here? Should we move on to someone else? And we kept making decisions, but God kept leading us back to Danny, almost as if he was saying, this is a person I have in your care right now. Take care of him. And so we began to minister to Danny's soul, just being his friend, taking care of him the best we could, hanging out, going to movies, all the things you would normally do, ministering to him, asking about what did he wanted to have happen in his life, where did he want to be later on. And Danny always had a vision that he wanted to have a wife and kids. He just didn't know how to get there. But Danny, he's the kind of guy you want in your corner. He's a servant to the core. Anything you need, he's going to get it done. And also, being a big man, he's also someone you want in your corner when you got to deal with some messy situations like we do often in ministry, or at least here we find ourselves in. Well, a year after knowing Danny asked us if we'd meet him for brunch one morning. So we showed up on a Saturday morning, meeting Danny for brunch. We sit down to order our food, and Danny says, well, congratulations. And we said, well, what for, Danny? He goes, well, for 1 year I've been testing you. To which shocked us. We had no idea we were being tested. He said, for 1 year I've listened to you and I've watched you, and I wanted to know, do you really believe this stuff about Jesus you're talking about? And when you told me that no matter if I decided to give my life to Jesus or not, we would still be friends and we'd still hang out. And I just wondered, was that actually true? Well, he goes, for 1 year I've been testing you, and I can say, you guys are the real deal. So congratulations, you passed my test. Now can we study the Bible? And that's all it took. Being patient and waiting on God to work and act. It was excruciating at times. There were times when we wanted to give up. 2 months after studying with Danny, he gave his life to Jesus and was baptized. Danny hung out and worshiped with us at DC for a while. He's now since moved on to a place further away from us and has a new congregation that he's a part of and worshiping with. And by the way, found himself a wife, has 2 beautiful daughters, and is doing amazing things being the hands and feet of Jesus in the community around him. So often we want to give up because it just seems like the easier thing to do when things aren't going as fast as we want them to or as well as we want them to. But quite often God is saying to us, just wait, be patient, watch for me, I'm at work. Sometimes we just have to sit still and watch the power of God make something great happen. There's something about the power of God and our faith that make a great combination.